Welcome, hello, Yasu, and hi. My name is Ty Kölner. Um, Normally, you know what now is coming, but I will shorten it a little bit today because this today's topic is who's that girl? I mean, I always introduce myself as I am an author, I am a black magician, I am a practitioner of the draconian path, and in this point, I am a student of the Left-Hand Order Dragon Rouge, and I am an empath. So this is basically the headlines about who's that girl, but of course it's digging a little deeper. And this is where I want to extend this frame to tell you a little more today. But before I do this, subscribe my channel so you stay updated for the following videos. As always, I say I'm not a representative of the order. So if you got questions there, write an email there or visit the page. I'm just presenting my own work here. So actually, it's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. To me, it is a totally normal time. Normal time since I remember. I never slept. I was quite of a night owl. There are people who are very, very happy if they are awake at daytime, and I was always awake at night. So even if I crawl into my bed very early, you can be sure I awake at 3 or 4 in the morning because it's really my biorhythm to be awake at night. So, but how did it start? Today's memories go back to my age of 3. I can remember that I was quite of a philosophy fan, a curious child when I was at kindergarten. The kids were most influenced about TV and all this merchandising stuff, Barbie and co. And I was not that much into that. I I was one of that kids asking questions people couldn't answer about. As for the kindergarten, they had a little gaming round and so on, and then they asked the kids, "Do you have questions?" And they asked whatever stupid stuff. And I remember I did ask for why does the moon impact on the sea? And they just looked at me and said, I have to look for it. Okay, today I know it. But however, I was about 3 years old asking that question. So I'm a kind of giggling when I remember that. Also, when I was about 17, 17, maybe 18 to 19, I had a phase when I was a goth. No, it was 17 to 19. I was a goth. And I was one of them who went to the education school. So we had a split education system. You had 2 weeks of school, 2 weeks of work, and then back to school. And I got a nickname from my fellow students. It was Bibi Blocksberg because I came to school with a black dress, white powder, to the school. And I know there were 3 metalheads who were my colleagues, but I was not so much into metal. I was into gothic back then. And it was Manowar, I remember the one really liked too. And the other was Blind Guardian, yes. And I remember I was on autogram time in a disco where Hansi was giving autograms, and I showed up with a full size gothic dress. I don't know, but somehow I confused him. I asked him for an autogram, and he had just a sticker in front of him and a pen, and when he did sign this sticker, he looked at me and gave me the pen. And I just said, "No, Hansi, I would like that sticker." This is what I remember about this meeting. Or whom I met was Rhapsody. And Rhapsody was an Italian metal band, very fast, very raging, and more like, Lord of the Rings in a metal style. Um, Luca wasn't in the boat with this autogram day, unfortunately, because he already started his solo projects. And but I know I got an autogram right here, and I I really was thinking of, do I tattoo this or do I not tattoo this? But I really was proud about that, and I know that they were kind of confused about my first name, and so they just wrote on the poster, to a princess known as Tai. It was a quite cool memory. So that was my young years in contact with metal or in contact with my first strange happenings. Um, yeah, as you see, I have memories which are quite funny. I also remember, I think it was Dimo Borgia. They were in Bochum, and it was not my style of music back then, but also that evening they had several bands playing, and one gothic band and some bands, and so my colleagues and me from school went there to the disco, and I just was standing there at the concert of Demo Borgia. And here the empath comes into game. I was standing in the crowd, and one of the guitarists, no, I gripped four. I was standing in the crowd, and I did not see it, but suddenly I did sense the smell of iron. And I just thought, wow, what's now going on? And then I saw the guitarist cutting his arm like this. And I just thought, okay, now I know where it came from, but it is impossible that in a distance of 20, 30 meters, I was able to smell his blood. I was sensing it before I was smelling it. So, but this is my first contact to serious metal back then. Um, about my energetic work, I had no support when I was a child, and I was basically on my own. So I had, when I was supposed to sleep, I just was laying in my bed, and it was like a flickering around me. And I was really scared as hell about this flickering, but I couldn't make it up what it was. Today I know I had the ability to let go my body to an amount. I was just that way before astral traveling. But I was totally scared. I did feel this threshold of leaving the body, and I did not dare. So I kept awake, so not to sleep. Today I know this sensation, but I know this sensation if you step out of your body. So but back then I did not know it, and I was about 6 or 7 when it did happen very, very often, and I could not handle it, so I did try to block it. At the same times, When I was outside, I was able to feel when the energy changes. When you walk somewhere and suddenly you feel, okay, here something is different. You cannot really name it. You see, it is suddenly colder. The color is suddenly different. The sound is different. And one time I really made it to step through such a threshold, and it was really like stepping into another level of perception. I did tell about in a previous video. I will dig into that another time again. But all these things did happen totally unguided. So when I got about 16 and I did do my education, there was a guy, one of that group, who who I was in contact with, and he was learning something metal constructor, and his mother did name himself a Luciferian high priest. So back then I was not really much interested into a cult. I did know about my senses. I did know there is something on me and I have to work on this, but I had no idea how to do. But I was not into, hey, let's invoke a demon. That was not my cup of tea. So, on the other hand, I had a very, let me say it nice, brutal home, brutal familyship. And so I left home very early. I think maybe now and then I will pick a word about that. But for now, I can just say if I would have been a guy, I would have beaten up somebody every day just to get out this pressure you get. As a girl, you sometimes react differently. You retreat, you isolate, you don't want to contact to people. And so I was more focused on nature or on energy streams themselves than on people. I was a strange kid back then because of that. But however, when I did do my education, this boy was at my school, and the mother to him, she was in a parship to someone who was working at that place where I did do my education. So everything fell together, and when I left home, more or less in a blink of an eye, so 15 minutes about, um, I did move in to this family. I did live there for a while, and so she took me as a kind of a student. As said, I was not that much into demon invocation. It was not my cup of tea, but she was a skilled astral magician too, and she was also educating her son. And back then, yeah, we did share one room. We did even sleep in the same room, same bed, one side the one and other side the other. He was really like my brother. And so it basically was we were educated how to do this astral workings, and we were taught how to open this portal. So you were just laying down in the night, opening this portal, and you were traveling there, and it was kind of a bubble in astral plane. So more like a classroom midst an astral plane. And I gave it the name Lucifer's sphere because on one side she was a Luciferian high priest, as for her description, and it was indeed a teaching sphere. It was all about how you how you sharpen your senses, how you can touch things, how you can create things on that plane. It was a pure learning plane, and The funny stuff was me and this boy were not the only one she was teaching. So we were a group of about, yeah, in between it was, I think, 4 or 5 people. And so at every night when we did lay down for sleeping, we did open this portal, step into this astral bubble, and we're just walking around there and tapping around. And so, okay, you now could say, if I tell there was a rock and on the other side was a tree, and this tree had yellow leaves, for example, and a little further there was a wolf, um, then it could be just a dream of my perception. But the funny stuff was, because we were at the same school, we met in the breaks. And so in the breaks, we were talking. And it was more like 4 people standing together. And one was saying, yeah, there was a path, and this path was made of stone. And the next one did say, yes, it was marble and it was white marble, but the rest of the forest was dark. And then the other one said, yeah, and at the right side, but there was a rock, and beside the rock was a wolf. So it basically, we all of us could tell the same location and the same perceptions, just from the different directions how we did perceived it. So this was the first time when I found out I am not alone percepting this. And it gave me a real backbone to trust in what I sense. Um, Also, I want to share you a little game we did back then. It was Astral Ping Pong. No, no. Um, Migraine Ping Pong. Yes, sorry. I was with Astral Senses still because it is. However, we did use not only the nighttime, we did also use the daytimes for exercising. Yeah. So imagine you're sitting at a pub or bar, whatever, and you're having a coffee. And then it's okay. But if you're having a beer, you probably should not game this game. However, if you can, it's really fun, but it demands. It demands. One has a headache. So this one who has a headache is trying to transfer the headache to the other one. The rule is the other one has to stay open to take it. So okay, who really wants to have a headache? But it was part of the game. So one is standing and the other one is willingly taking it. So then the turn changes, and this one is giving the headache to the next one. It works, but it works just a while because you lose your focus. And if you also get your beers, you lose your focus more and more eventually. So in the end, it is you let go this headache to another person who is taking this headache to send it to the next person, but you are not able to let go 100%, and the other one is not able to let go 100% to the next one. So in the end, each of us had a fragment of this headache. What a fucking pain. Sorry. No, you know what I mean. It is really like you can crash a glass. A glass is no problem, but crash a glass and share these splitters. Yes, it was quite a fun of a game, and we did it several times. And this was one of the things really confirming the existence of energy transfer. And it is a kind of work you do with your energy body, you do with your will, and it was quite of a fun. But things change and you grow older. And so, to make a long story shorter, for now, I once did move away from that area, so we all lost contact, and I was more working in runes. And in rune working, I did like to work with stones, so with rhinestones. And there we were at the river, and we were sorting the stones, becoming a rune set or talisman, and you basically exactly knew this will become a Lagus or this will become an Othala, not because of the color or the shape, but from sensing when you got them in the hand, you knew this energy is for that rune. Um, we were also on fair trades many years, my husband and me, and I did learn much about people, because there are many people just seeking for help in their life, for a direction in their life, and so they come to these fairs. But sometimes you really met strong people, and then you just said, yes, yes, there is one again. So that's a little benefit if you are in a bigger town, the possibility to meet somebody who is really working with energies is much more higher than if you're in a on a countryside with about 100 people living in the same village. Um, so I did really like this fairs, and I really like to do divinatory works and talk to the people and exchange. So all the years, night working, I'm happy to be able to now and then get it into night shift. And about currently works, I I do actually write on a book again, and I do a new setting for an ebook too. And so it is, of course, much work to do again, much new stuff to learn as well. And I also have a mundane job, which will usually start in the morning. And if it is not that case, I have enough to do to still rise early in the morning. So, yeah, this was when I work on my books, I basically work with that entity who was my only support in my childhood. Also a topic I will dig into later, but I do automatic writing and I do writing. Now and then I'm blessed to do some songwritings for bands, or just being inspirative too. I also create incenses for rituals and doing some art stuff like talismatics or ritual tools. I basically say everything except iron, so, or metals. This is what is caused by my musen too. I always name her my musen because she is the driving force to inspire me day and night. And I'm curious what will turn out in future. About this writing, it is since I can hold a pen, I'm a fan of writing poetry, I'm a fan of writing my stuff down, so I really like it. Also, I'm a crazy bird. I'm learning on several languages at the same time. We did live in Norway a while, so jeg prater norsk. I speak in Norwegian, but I maybe I'm not up to date anymore. So I'm learning a little bit English and Norwegian to keep it fresh. I'm learning Swedish, Finnish, Greek. I also did put me some Portuguese and Spanish onto my list, working on it. And Klingon, I found Klingon. So, hopla, we get it. No, just for joking, you can be a crazy bird. But this is one of my main roots I got. You never learn too much. You can never learn too much. Maybe you cannot sort everything at the same moment. But if you do it every day, a little step, and even if you are lazy, you are doing something. So even if you are lazy and just say you relax and you focus on your inner Kundalini, whatever, you can use every second of your life. And this is how I did do my thing. I think here I cut this video for today, but this is what I can give you as an heads up for today. You can reach very, very far in your life if you consciously make sure you are learning whatever you do. If you set a new plant into the garden, if you read a book, if you just say I've got some concrete materials and I will construct something, whatever you do, even if you're sitting on the couch and just relaxing, you can learn something from it. And maybe as a long-term student of Lucifer, could be. Um, I can just say there is never a reason to not to learn. And what you cannot understand, your energy body will understand. So as soon you are ready to understand it, you will get this backup note from your subconsciousness, and you see something and you suddenly remember, wait, I did try it once. And so it will link and so it will connect. And this is my last word for tonight. I get me some rest because the bell is ringing soon. And wherever you are, have a good day, have a sweet night, and see you again.